John, welcome to In Clear Focus.
Oh, thank you for having me.
John, how do you define customer experience strategy?
I like to start by stating what it's not. And what it's not simply UX. It's not simply customer support. It's not simply customer success. It's much more holistic and it encompasses both brand experience and product experience. So I think within that context, it's everything and every interaction an individual has with a brand across their entire journey.
You've written that while design is a function, experience design is a way of thinking. How so?
When we think about design, we often think about UX designers, creatives, and so forth. We're often thinking about the function. And yet, when you think about experience design, it's much more than the function of design. It's a way of thinking as an organization, it's a process, it's a series of questions. And it typically takes multidisciplined capabilities within the organization to execute on it. And so I really like to just kind of champion the fact that it's a co-creative process and that anyone in an organization can be involved in engaging in it. And everyone has something to add in terms of the value proposition of thinking through experience design. It's not a document. It's not simply a desired outcome. It's a way of accomplishing or moving towards that outcome. And so I think when this goes in the context of strategy, it's knowing first who we're designing for is probably the most important step, but as well that not only know who you're designing it for, but who we are. And there's two elements of that, in that there is no one size fits all customer strategy across industries or across companies. And the starting place has to really be both your business model as well as your brand type. So if I were to talk about two very aspirational brands in terms of an Apple or a FedEx, you wouldn't expect common experience strategies from those two companies, right? And partly that's because their business models are very different. FedEx is all about operational excellence. And so that's more about consistency and repeatability and delivery of that on a consistent basis. It's not about providing you options as consumers. It's simply saying, this is how we work. When you choose this delivery type, you should expect this. Versus at Apple is all about product innovation. So you wouldn't expect two companies to arrive at the same essence of what a customer strategy is just based upon their business model. I think the other thing is to recognize that not all brands are equal and all brands have what you might classify as a type. And so there can be disruptive brands, there can be service brands, there can be value-based brands, and they can be performance-based brands. And so when you start to think about customer strategy, I think first and foremost, you start with who you are as a business, what business are you in, as well as what your brand type is, because your brand type and your positioning reflects what your brand promise is, which reflects how you go about executing your strategy.